So what is being alleged now by a lawyer whose name is Ashley Merchant, and she is the attorney for one of the defendants down there. Last name is Roman. And this guy, Roman, looking for his first name here, can't find it in front of me, but in any event, he's one of the co-defendants, Michael. He worked as director of Election Day operations for the Trump camp in 2020. Well, right now he's charged with 7 felony counts by Fani Willis. Conspiracy, trying to organize slates of Trump's electors, working with Trump to, get the election to go Trump's way in Georgia. He got indicted by Fani Willis. Actually, the grand jury wouldn't indict him, but she charged him anyway. And his lawyer is this Ashley Merchant, who has just filed a barn burner of a motion calling attention to what she says is a disgusting ethics breach by Fani Willis. She says that Fani Willis is in an inappropriate romantic relationship with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, who she brought in to help prosecute this RICO case against Trump and all the others. And that she and Nathan Wade have been having an affair, and that she named him special prosecutor the day before he filed for a divorce from his wife, and that she's been funneling payments to him for his work as a special prosecutor, and that he's been using those monies to then take Fani Willis on all these exotic vacations, traveling together to Napa Valley, to Florida, cruising the Caribbean together, using tickets, quoting here from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, using tickets Wade purchased from Norwegian and Royal Caribbean cruise lines, and suggesting that the checks that were sent to this guy Wade, Nathan Wade, from Fani Willis, Fulton County, and his subsequent purchases of vacations for Fani Willis could amount not only to a conflict of interest because she's using him to fund her life and to prosecute Trump, but to, quote, honest services fraud, a federal crime in which a vendor gives kickbacks to an employer. He would be the vendor, Fani Willis / Fulton County, the employer. It is possible this could also be prosecuted under the RICO statute, claims Ashley Merchant, the attorney for one of these defendants, in a motion. Now, that seems like a potential reach, though I don't know. But one other thing, Victor, and then I'll get you to weigh in on it. Just in case people out there are thinking this is just, the long shot Hail Mary of a co-defendant in this case. No, they went to Stephen Gillers, who since I was in law school is the guy you go to when you want an ethics opinion on what a lawyer has done. He literally wrote the textbook we all study before we take the bar exam on legal ethics. He's professor emeritus at NYU Law School, and he was interviewed by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for this. And said, I'm going to quote here. He said, a closer look at Fani Willis's decision-making is needed before it can be determined whether the indictment against this guy, this co-defendant of Trump's, should be dismissed. The allegations, if true, said Gillers, lead to the following conclusion. Fani Willis was conflicted in the investigation and prosecution of this case and was not able to bring the sort of independent professional judgment her position requires. Well, as far as I can tell, all this would apply not just to this one defendant, Roman, but also to Donald Trump. Just because Roman's lawyer found it doesn't mean it's not going to benefit Trump and the other defendants. And not only, and I'll go on because Gillers adds to what he said, this doesn't mean her decisions were, in fact, improperly motivated, he says, but it does mean the public and the state as her client could not have the confidence in the independent judgment that her position required her to exercise. So this guy's suggesting she may have to go. The lawyer suggesting she may actually be subjected to criminal prosecution, depending on what comes out. And she is basing her allegations, this Ashley Merchant lawyer, that's the name of the lawyer, on the fact that, in part, she reviewed the divorce case in Wade's ongoing divorce proceeding, Nathan Wade's ongoing divorce proceeding, the guy who Fani's having the affair with, according to this motion. And she made copies of documents therein. Then this guy Wade's divorce file was later sealed. And because it's been sealed now, the lawyer merchant can't share the information she got from the divorce file until that seal is lifted. She is asking a judge to unseal the divorce proceedings of Fani Willis's alleged affair partner and special prosecutor in this case. Okay, I'm done. What do you make of it all?
Well, I mean, if it's true, she's going to be facing criminal exposure, because if she did travel with this guy and she benefited from the perks that he extended to her, and he was a special prosecutor who were supposed to be, I guess they brought him in because they felt that he had expertise, or at least he wouldn't be part of the earlier deliberations and he would be perhaps more fair and judicious. So she defeated that purpose. But if she benefited with this liaison and she facilitated, I think she would face criminal exposure. But it brings up a couple of things, I think, in a wider context. All of the legal eagles who looked at these 4 cases, these 4 indictments, maybe putting Jack Smith's aside because it was a federal indictment, had all come to the consensus that Fani Willis had the most likely chance of succeeding, that Letitia James on the real estate thing was sort of bogus, and Alvin Bragg was even less serious. But Fani Willis, because of the phone call and the attention of the major parties in an election, they all felt that was at least the consensus. If that folds, I think it'll have a ripple effect that will remind the public, and I think the legal community, that all of them were politically motivated. And this was the best chance that the people who were engaging in lawfare had to get Donald Trump. The other thing is, this isn't the first time we've seen one of these Soros-supported prosecutors come into conflict with the law. We had Kim Fox in Chicago, remember, with Jussie Smollett, and she had to be overridden. And we had the Baltimore prosecutor, I think the one in St. Louis. Out here in California, we've had
Marilyn
Chasey
Mosby
Boudin.
in Baltimore. Marilyn Mosby.
Yes, Baltimore, Carolyn Mosley. We have Gascon facing. So all of them, I think, are finally coming under scrutiny. And it's kind of ironic, or maybe it's nemesis at work, that they were so confident and so boastful in some of their public campaigns for office that they were going to get Trump and they were going to do this and this, and all they did is bring scrutiny into their careers that couldn't bear scrutiny. And so that's kind of ironic, and it's good news.
It's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Marilyn Mosby, she too facing charges out there for mismanaging state funds, for getting a home loan during COVID that really was just meant to get her a better mortgage rate, if memory serves. It wasn't for COVID. And so she's no longer in office, and now she's dealing with her own legal problems. I forgot the name of the St. Louis prosecutor. I think the St. Louis prosecutor that went after the couple that was armed, she's facing problems as well. I think she's had to step down. Yeah, this one's huge, Victor, because this woman she's made a national name for herself through this case by going after Donald Trump. You know, she was going to be the ethical one to take him down for mistreating the Georgia election workers and the Georgia election system. And now we find out, I'm reading from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is reporting on the motion that she filed, that the lawyer filed, saying, so keep in mind, she's the DA, all right? This is Fani Willis is the DA. She authorizes the compensation of a special prosecutor she's bringing on, like Nathan Wade, and that he's been paid so far almost $654,000 in legal fees. The allegation, of course, being that they then turned around and went to the Caribbean together, and they went to Florida together, and they went on. Fani Willis is loving the position of special prosecutor. If any of this is true, she's going away. She is not going to be allowed to prosecute Trump anymore on this case.
And she has. And all of these prosecutors have made various motions, especially Jack Smith, but even the local ones, that they wanted urgency. They wanted to hasten these cases before the election. And if they're so in a hurry, how they have time to go to the Caribbean or Napa or to junk it all around? You think they would be working 24/7 as they claimed. And, you know, both conservative and left-wing lawyers who weigh in social media, on TV, they always say the same thing. Well, we don't, Bragg is a joke and Letitia James, but Fani Willis has got the goods on Trump. This phone call is a lot of criminal exposure. And if this thing blows up, and I think it has a good chance of, I think it will have consequences with all of the other ones.
Negative dings on credit reports happen to all sorts of people from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Understanding the credit landscape can be extremely tough, and spending the time to dispute and repair these so-called dings can be a full-time job. Good luck to you if you already have one of those, or kids, or anything else going on. For starters, you have to deal with 3 separate credit bureaus, and it's a massive headache. It's also a common misconception that people with poor credit scores are just those who don't pay their credit card bills. These actually can be hardworking people who are negatively affected by divorce, identity theft, medical debt, student loans, and just don't have the time or are too overwhelmed to fix it. But if you don't address negative credit items, they can haunt you for years to come, and when it counts the most, like when you're trying to get a mortgage at a competitive rate. Well, the good news is that our sponsor, Lexington Law, wants to help. Go to lexingtonlaw.com. Start today with a free consultation and review, and tell them Megyn sent you at lexingtonlaw.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.